Anybody has a Bible, they can turn to 1 Samuel verse 18. Chapter 18, verse 17 through 27. It says, Saul said to David, here's my older daughter, Mara. I will give her to you in marriage. Only serve me bravely and fight the battles of the Lord. One thing that I thought was unusual about that part specifically is that Saul is treating his daughter like an object, because he's saying that since this is mine, I have the right to give it to you. So after that, it goes, for Saul said to himself, I will not raise a hand against him. Let the Philistines do that. But David said to Saul, who am I, and what is my family or my clan in Israel, that should become the king's son-in-law? So when the time came for Mara, Saul's daughter, to be given to David, she was in marriage to Adriel of Maloah. Now Saul's daughter Micah was in love with David, and when they told Saul about it, he was pleased. I will give her to him, he thought, so that she may be a snare to him, and so that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. So Saul said to David, now you have a second opportunity to become my son-in-law. Then Saul ordered his attendants, speak to David privately, and say, look, the king likes you, and his attendants all love you. Now become his son-in-law. He repeated these words to David, but David said, do you think it's a small matter to become the king's son-in-law? About that part where it said, do you think it's small? I thought it was weird that, because it is a big deal, but it's also kind of like saying that he is so important, and I thought that was weird because it's kind of making it seem like he's being full of himself. I'm only a poor man and little known. When Saul's servants told him what David had said, Saul replied, say to David, the king wants no other price for the bride than 100 Philistine foreskins to take revenge on his enemies. Okay, I just think that's gross. Like, if somebody came up to you and there was this pretty girl or guy, and he said, I want you to go up to a bunch of big men and just cut off their foreskins. I don't think anybody in here would do that.
I would.
I bet you would, Ezra.
I bet you.
Saul's plan was to have David fall by the hand of the Philistines. I just thought that was weird that it feels like he just wants David killed. And I think that would not be a good thing, considering that two of his daughters are really like David. When attendants told David these things, he was pleased to become the king's son-in-law. So before a lot of time elapsed, David took his men with him and went out and killed 200 Philistines and brought back their foreskins. One thing that I think you can learn from this story is how he was only supposed to bring 200. He was only supposed to bring 100, but he brought 200, even though it was unpleasant. And for example, if imagine if you were mowing the lawn and a really hot day outside, and you just did not want to do it, and somebody tells you to mow the other person's, the neighbor's lawn too. If you were to do that and be like, man, I really hated that. Women do their neighbors too. That's just like, just don't do the least you possibly can to complete a test. They counted out the full number to the king, so David might become the king's son-in-law. Then Saul gave him his daughter Micah in marriage.